Great Debaters Contest is brought to you by Safaricom M-Pesa.
Coming to you all the way from Kisumu region, this is the Great Debaters Contest. I am Austin Nyambok.
And I am Mariam Bishar. We have a very interesting financial motion for the debaters today. Youth who do not have the capacity to save do not deserve subsidized loans from youth funds. We'll have Kasagam High School and Kisumu Girls Secondary debating this motion. Proposer number 1, you have 3 minutes.
Hello everyone, my name is Rebuttals from Kasagam Secondary School. I'm here to support the motion that goes, youths who do not have the capacity to save do not deserve subsidized loans. First of all, the term youth, according to the UN Habitat, refers to an individual with the age ranging between 15 and 34. Economically, not having the capacity to save describes the youths who don't have money in the pool. The term subsidized refers to giving loans with no or minimal interest. Around 61% of our youth are unemployed, and the population is shunned by the mainstream banks. But remember that these organizations are also motivated or funded by organizations such as the Microfinance Institution. We have the CDF, which also means the Community Development Fund, the Uwezo Fund, the Youth Enterprise Development Fund, and among others. Anybody going against this motion is simply insinuating that we should allow laziness to permeate in our nation. On to my first point, it is obvious that in any developing nation, what helps in economic growth is constant saving. All of you, can we all rise up from world of fantasy to a world of reality? If you look at it from this point of view, just imagine that, okay, a good example is our country Kisumu. How many people outside here have the capacity to save? Only few. So if it simply means that if you give them loans, they are going to better our economic development, but it will be of no use, or it will be of no use, and it will not be meaningful if you give money to those people who don't have the capacity to save, because it will be like misusing the funds that are only meant to improve our country economically. On to my second point is that the youth fund is a revolving fund from which the loans are got from. This means that the youth who do not save and are funded by this kitty might not pay back at all, in which I mean that anytime it will be of no use when you give somebody a fund and he or she lacks the basic knowledge on how to use the money. On to the third point, business is not about immediate gratification. One saves to revamp business, increase the capital base, and also increase investments. Therefore, the youths who save should be funded because of multiplying effect of business growth in the economy. With all those few remarks, I beg to sit. Thank you.
First opposer, you have 3 minutes.
Not really. It's not every now and then that we have to say, a fool and his money are soon parted. Maresa Ogwe, welcome to Kisumu Girls. You give me money to spend, not to save. Even if you're giving me money to save, I do not borrow to save. I borrow to spend the money. What matters is whether I pay the money. Come to think of it, if I am to pay the money in installments, I do not really have to save. I can be earning around 20,000. From your loan that you gave me, I start a business, I invest, and my profit is of around 40,000. I pay you in installments of 10,000 per month, and the rest I use to satisfy my needs. I really don't have to save. The loans are subsidized, meaning you pay back without interest. If I have the capacity to save, the loans are subsidized, definitely meaning I pay without interest. Last week, Mr. Bunyema warned that failing to repay the Uwezo loans was not an option, as the existing structure will ensure interest-free loans are paid. Not saving majorly relies on individuals. The youth funds currently are given to groups. A young entrepreneur from the textile industry has called on the government to use Uwezo funds as an individual loans for accountability in repayment. Groups lock out youths operating personal projects. The major objectives of these youth funds are to incubate enterprises, catalyze innovation, promote industries, creating employment and growing of the economy. And to support onto this point, there'll be reduced development if the youths are not given loans. Come to think of it, the loans that the youths are given, you have to have a project. It will increase creativity because for me to be given the loan, I have to think of something that will enable the youth funds to give me the loans. So conferences set rules, education awareness, and definitely there are repercussions to those who do not save.
We'll now hear rebuttals, beginning with the proposers. You have 3 minutes.
You guys, why do you support laziness in our country? I am Lydia Adhiambo from Kasagam. I strongly support this motion. I'm in strong agreement with Bertolt Brecht when he says in the play The Caucasian Chalk Cycle that what there is shall go to those who are good for it. As in, I look at this sense, the youths who are not able to save, most of our youths, it is a fact. We don't need to ignore this. Most of us, we are very extravagant. As in, I look at this like this. Most of our youths, we like good things. Who amongst us don't we like flashy phones? Don't we like expensive clothes? So such youths, when they're given loans from the youth funds, they will use the loans in a very bad way. And this one will bring a negative impact to the society. What will be the results of this? They won't be able to repay back the loans. Remember, the loans are coming from a certain pool. Imagine a situation whereby you are not able to pay back the loans because maybe you use it to buy your expensive car, you use it to buy your flashy phone, What will other youths use in the next generation? This will be an added burden to the taxpayers because we as citizens, each and every day we pay tax for the development of our country. And most of our youths, we are not seeing this. We need to be expensive. Think about that. To my second point, by not giving the youth who are not able to save loans from the youth funds, we are encouraging a culture of saving. Imagine a situation whereby you have a friend or you have a relative who is a fellow youth like you. He or she has been benefiting from the youth funds. He or she has opened up a business. He or she is making a progress ahead in life, and you are just sitting down there. I will not sit down in the streets. I continue begging, and I see my fellow youths progressing. My fellow youths, think about that. The culture of saving, it will be built in our country. I strongly propose this motion, and with those few points, thank you.
Opposition, time for your rebuttal. You have 3 minutes.
Saving is what helps developing countries. I quote the first proposer. You say saving is what helps developing countries. I actually think it's investing that helps developing countries. When you give loans to people and they keep on saving, in the end they'll return the loans. And since there's no interest that you charge them, it will be like the money was not used for the good of the country or anything like that. The first proposer also say that there are few people who can save. If you say there are few people who can save, and you say we should only give the people who can save loans, you're trying to say we are supposed to promote little or no development at all. Meaning, if these people who have the capacity to save are given loans, they might probably save the money you give them, such that they just keep on borrowing loans, saving the money, and returning it to you. And you won't be achieving the objectives of the youth funds. The second proposer say that the youths are extravagant. So if you give them loans and they don't have the capacity to save, it will be a disadvantage to you. I'm saying the youth are extravagant, yes, but a loan is something that you give back after you've completed the purpose you wanted to use it for. Now, you might be extravagant, but once you start working, the organization, the youth fund organizations will catch up with you. They will keep on deducting what you owe them from your salary. And if you are such a miser that you don't even have a job, you can offer your kidney and take the change. Youths who do not have the ability to save do not deserve subsidized loans. I say they deserve subsidized loans, if they don't have the capacity to save, but they have the capacity to invest. A youth will borrow you a loan, then invest on a creative project, then get his profit. He will pay you back the loan. But since he doesn't have the capacity to save, he might decide to use his profit for his own issues. There he would have created an income earning, let me say, organization to himself. You would have helped him, and you would have helped the country or government, because the organization might be exporting its products and the country will be receiving revenue. Then, na tujenge taifa letu ndio wajibu wetu. This is a familiar line that all of us recognize. It's from our national anthem. How do you expect the youth to help in development of the country when you don't even give them the loans when they ask for it? The youth deserve these loans so that they can help in building the country, something that is our obligation as Kenyans. So for us to promote the youth, to help the youth develop the country, we should give them these loans so that they might start their own projects that will give the government revenue. Thank you.
I'm pacing back and forth in the recesses of my mind, thinking about tomorrow as if I have the time. I've got a book of regrets and a list of excuses, but paying my school fees is not one of them. Paying school fees is now easier with Lipa Karo na M-Pesa.
Take part in the M Challenge by sending your short song, rap, or poem about Safaricom M-Pesa on WhatsApp, and you could win 1,000 shillings in Safaricom airtime.
The opposition have been asked what repercussions will come to the youths who do not save. And of course, the proposition have been asked what makes them think that the youth do not have the capacity to save. Proposer number 3, you have 3 minutes.
Naturally, human wants are unlimited. They cannot be satisfied once and for all. That's why Modesta Masha from Kasagam Secondary School ready to respond to the question asked by Michael from Maranda Secondary School. One of the core values and principles of this Youth Enterprise Development Fund is to operate on the basis, is to emphasize on economic growth of the country. This is why I want to bring this point of extravagance. This project, it was started in the year 2006, and by this year, they might have seen the benefits on how youths save. Therefore, they could have learned how youth spend their savings on other issues or whether they are important to the economy or not. That's why they decided, or that's why I'm proposing the motion that they should only give those who are able to save. I want to contradict what my opponent said. That's the second speaker from the opposite side. That what she thinks brings development in a country is through investment. Don't you think of innovation? Is investment only what can make a country to grow, to develop economically? Think of this person, Mark Zuckerberg, from an American computer programmer, best known as one of the co-founders of social networking website Facebook. Think of the person from Saya County who came up with the issue of M-Pesa. What is it if it's not innovation? Why do you only think on the line of investment alone? Furthermore, people who are able to save are likely able to come up with job opportunities, like starting up small-scale businesses
or opening up industries. These industries require youths who are young and energetic enough to work into these industries. When they are employed, as a result, what is the effect? The rate of unemployment in the country reduces. And therefore, I strongly propose the motion that those who have the capacity to save are the only people who deserve those funds. Otherwise,
Opposition, you also have 3 minutes to respond to the audience.
Thank you. My name is Sultani Bani Felicia from Kisumu Girls High School. When you go to take out a loan, there is something called collateral. Collateral can be your house, it can be your car, and in this case, for the youth, it can be your salary. So when the government needs you to pay back the loan that they gave you, they can cut it off from your salary, or they can take your house or your car. I hope I have answered you. Giving youths who do not have the capacity to save the loans that they need, this increases, it promotes creativity in the country, actually. Everyone has a dream. Everyone has a dream. I can say that confidently because if I had a dream to start a contest like this one, then I am given the loan to start it. I invest in it, but what if it fails? It fails so miserably, and then there goes my dream, but it's not that I did not have the capacity to save, it's just that my dream shattered. So what do? We keep picking them up. We keep picking them up until it finally works. So it's about faith. Faith in the youth who do not have the capacity to save. Another thing is that giving this youth the loan they want reduces dependency level, in that when they get these funds, they're able to invest, like has been said, and the profits that they get actually enable them to acquire the wants and needs. Eventually, the dependency level right now stands at about 76.1%. And youths make up 50% of the population in Kenya. So this youth, how do they use these funds? Some of them use them to pay their fees. Some of them use to, there are so many things they do with these funds. And if we decide to give them to the people who only have the capacity to save, this will mean that we are locking out many people from job opportunities, and denying the youth who do not have the capacity to save the loans. It reduces development in the country. How? Youth rely on the funds to finance their projects and investments. So it will be financial suicide, if you ask me, to refuse to give the youth these loans because they need them to invest. So I think that is all I had, and thank you for the opportunity.
We'll now hear closing submissions. Proposers, you have 1 minute.
Hello. Seriously, do you think it's bad to encourage laziness in our country or in our society? Owing to the fact that we all want to improve or prosper economically, then it simply means that we should only fund those people who are capable of saving. Simply because when they save and they give the money back to the society, when they save and this money, they take it back to those organizations, it simply means that this money is going to be used to fund other people, and it also help us to develop economically. I will conclude this motion by quoting from the Bible, from the book of Matthew chapter 25, verse 29, which says, "For everyone who has will be more given and will have abundance, but from which he who has not, what he has, the little he has shall be taken away from him." Thank you.
Opposition, you also have 1 minute.
It is better to light a candle than to cast the darkness. Never laugh at a man's dreams, because it is these dreams, when realized, that actually develop our country. Are we willing to deprive our country of all the advantages that come with giving the youth these loans, despite that little flow that they're unable to save? We should have a little faith. It moves mountains, as the Bible says. And that's why Kisumu Girls believes that despite the youth's incapacity to save, we deserve chances and time happen to all men. So we all deserve chances and we should be given these loans for our development. Thank you.
Then just to address the first speakers, it was very evident, stage fright towards your end submissions. As in I looked at you, Philip, and I could tell some sweat was coming from somewhere that you didn't even tell. Is it? Yes. Same too to Marissa, is it? Yeah, there was something that happened. So you need to really work on this, practice, come to the stage at times, look at the people, and practice makes perfect. But I believe that come next time, we shall have great debates from you, is it? All the best to the two teams.
It was a fair presentation by both teams. We need a lot, maybe in terms of energy and also in terms of passion. When you come to debate, you need to have a catchy introduction. Sometimes introduction attracts the attention or gets the attention of the listeners, and also conclusion, it gets the attention of the listeners. Make use of your time. Sometimes stage fright is simply caused by lack of preparation. You come to the stage, then you get frightened, you get scared, your notes get mixed up. So try and organize yourself, try and research, master your content. Do your research by yourselves and master the content so that when you submit, at least you have something tangible to submit to the audience. I said not to get to individuals. It was a fair debate from both sides.
What you should have done, especially, for both schools actually, for Kasagam, because you are proposing this motion that they shouldn't, they do not deserve subsidized loans. So how do you gauge the capacity to save, one's capacity to save? Are you looking at how much they have put aside? And is there a mechanism for gauging that? Or are you looking at their daily expenses and see whether, they invest anything? And part of that could have been answered by clearly defining who the youth is, or who the youth are by the two groups. I'm struggling to think about what is the takeout for me. If I've listened to this motion, then should I be convinced that these young people shouldn't be given loans, or they should actually be given loans? And that question for me right now cannot be answered. But having said that, all the best to the two teams.
The judges awarded 62% to both teams, so it's a tie for both Kasagam and Kisumu girls. Please give them a round of applause.
Congratulations to the two teams, and from all of us here at the Great Debaters Contest, we'd like to appreciate Safaricom M-Pesa and KBC Channel 1 and urge our viewers and members of the audience to follow us on Twitter at Great Debaters EA. I am Austin Nyombok.
And I am Mariam Bishar. Keep watching the Great Debaters Contest.
The Great Debaters Contest was brought to you by Safaricom M-Pesa.